3 decades removed from World War II and the events of the Holocaust, Adolf Hitler and his propaganda machine, it was supposed to be known as one of the most serene Olympic events that ever took place in the world at that moment. Quickly took a turn for the worse and resulted in tragedy. On the morning of September 5th, 1972, in West Munich, Germany, 8 Israeli hostages were taken captive by 9 Arabian terrorists. A phone call was made from a news director at ABC that was covering the Olympic events at that moment. Made a phone call to this person in his hotel room. This person answers the phone, and the news director says, "Jim, completely forget about the track and field events that you're covering today. I need you to come into the studio and report this national crisis, world crisis, that an entire nation is currently watching on a live feed." So Jim McKay is basically told this news on the fly as he's going to the studio. And Jim McKay at that time was better known for as being an offbeat sports anchor, as well as his program that he ran successful for almost a decade at that point, Jim McKay's Wild World of Sports. He wasn't used to reporting the hard news, and this in fact related directly to hard news because an entire world was sitting as an audience watching these events unfold. And so that entire day goes by, and you're listening to Jim McKay go to work with his effective use of rhetoric. His reputational background made him so effective in what he was trying to accomplish in reporting these events to the entire world that was watching this on a live feed from their television sets at home. And the moment finally comes to where a rescue attempt was made almost 24 hours later, well into September 6, 1972, right before 4 a.m. struck the bells all about Germany. And that's when you're sitting back and you're watching these events unfold in this documentary, and you're wondering, this sort of tragedy could never take place. It's something that's as sacred as the Olympic Games, and in this situation it wasn't the case. And Jim McKay is reporting this tragedy, and he finally gets word after he takes a beat and listens to his headpiece, and he finally looks down, takes a moment, and he says, "You know, my dad used to say that some of our greatest triumphs, as well as our greatest fears, are seldom realized. And ladies and gentlemen, tonight, one of our greatest fears has just been realized." These 8 Israeli athletes that were taken hostage, they're no longer with us. They're all gone. And it just sort of puts you in that moment away from everything. It just makes you stop and realize that something that is as sacred as the Olympic events and what was supposed to be a serene Olympic event, it was in fact an entire world was united not around athletes competing at a high level, but an entire world uniting as a result of a circumstance of tragedy. And it really hits you in the gut, and just makes you appreciate everything that Jim McKay was able to do at that moment, and being able to unite an entire world. You go back and you wish maybe he would have wished that it would have been under different circumstances, but an entire world united at that moment because of tragedy that took place at these Olympic events. 3 decades after tragedy had reigned throughout Germany and most of Europe.